Hi, boys and girls, and welcome to the very first stupendous summer science with Miss Kathy. I hope everyone has had a great year. We did stupendous summer science last summer, and we are doing it again this year with all new experiments. And extra special treat for today, I have a cat that you never see on video. Dickens, say hi. Dickens, yoo-hoo. You can see he is going to choose to ignore us, which he often does, which is why he is not usually on videos, and Seuss, the black and white one, is. But since he was here today and we are outside enjoying the glories of summer, I thought I would share him too, whether he wants to or not. Now, one thing I want to start with is a book about science experiments and why it's so awesome. So this one is called Fairy Science, but if you are someone who doesn't particularly like fairies, do not leave. This is not a book about fairies. This is more of a book about science. If you don't want to hear the book, then you can fast forward ahead to the experiments. But it's a good book to start with because it tells you all about the scientific process. So let's read along Fairy Science by Ashley Spires. And Dickens will listen even though he doesn't really look like he's listening. This has very small pictures though, so oh, look at that. I guess he's not going to listen. He's decided fandom and stardom is too much for him. Fairy Science. Esther does not believe in magic. This is unusual because Esther is a fairy and fairies are all about magic. They use magic wands and they mix magic potions. Some fairies even make magical fairy dust. Shaboom! Esther is pretty sure that's just dandruff. She is the only fairy in Pixieville who believes in science. Esther prefers facts, data, and hard evidence to wishing on stars. There she is. It says Esther's room, but it's crossed out Esther's laboratory. She has everything she needs for her science experiments. Unfortunately, the only thing they teach in fairy school is magic. Class is very frustrating for Esther. Fairies were born when a drop of rain passed through a rainbow and landed on a flower bud. When the flower bloomed, the first fairy took flight. And form is Pelly-Petal. As you can see from this chart, it is more likely that fairies as a species evolved in response to influences such as environment and diet. Esther can't help observing the world differently from everyone else. Where other fairies see a path to hidden gold, Esther sees light and water colliding. Follow the rainbow! The water helps us see all the colors that are hidden in the sunlight. That's dispersion. When they see a dangerous omen, she sees condensation. It's very foggy. When the temperature is just right, water droplets are suspended in the air. When they see faces of the spirits, she sees erosion. Rocks get worn away by water and wind. The faces are just your imagination. I don't think they are listening, the little birdie says. Esther can't wait to teach the scientific method to her fairy mates. Ask a question. Do some research to find out more. Make a hypothesis, a fancy word for guess. Do experiments. Study the results. Draw a conclusion. Eureka! Or you could just do magic. So those were the processes of a scientific experiment. Ask a question, do some research to find out about it, Make a hypothesis or a good guess. Do the experiments. Study the results and draw your conclusion. She shows them the periodic table. This is a list of all the elements that make up the whole universe. No, not all of them. Where are dreams and wishes and sunshine? She even demonstrates gravity. Gravity is why things fall down instead of up. Whee! But we can go up, so we must be magic. They just don't get it. Ping! Then she kicks this tree. Whoosh! All the leaves come down. That was definitely gravity. And there is definitely something wrong with this tree. It's wilting. Alakazoo! The fairies do their best to help. They cast spells. They make magic talismans. They even do a mystical moonlight dance. But nothing works. The tree keeps on wilting. Esther asks a question. Why is the tree wilting? She does some research. What I know about trees. They have leaves. They have roots. They are pretty. They grow out of dirt. She makes a hypothesis. Remember, that's your guess. What does the tree need to grow? Soil, water, air, hugs. She is a good tree person with lots of good drawings around about trees. And she loves trees. She tries some experiments. She's got little seedlings down here in jars growing. Sometimes you get that outside noise outside, like planes going over, but that's okay, we love the outside. She studies her results. Those little seedlings that she planted are growing. At last, Esther draws a conclusion. Eureka! The tree needs more sun. She goes up, 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 and clears out some of the leaves from the trees up top. Simbalahoo, Simbalahee, I'm doing some magic to save this tree, say the fairies at the bottom. Now she waits for the sun to do its work. And she's waiting overnight. She's waiting the next day. She's waiting into the fall. The leaves are starting to change color. She's waiting through the winter. She is waiting a long time. It took a while, now we're back to spring, but the tree is looking positively perky, and there's fresh little green shoots coming out. She did it! Esther has proven the power of science. Miss Pelly Petal did it! Magic saved the tree! At least she thought she did. But the other fairies don't seem to believe it. She might not have changed the other fairies' minds. Hip hip hooray! Sigh. But Esther has inspired some questions. How did you do that? Can you teach us science? And that's where every good scientist starts. And there they are. She's teaching 2 people the process of science at least. And maybe it will grow from there. And here it explains about Esther's sunbeam experiment. You don't have to be a fairy to do a science experiment. Why not grow your own seedlings at home? You'll need these things: dried lima bean, a zip seal sandwich bag, a paper towel, and tape. Your beans will grow extra fast if you soak them overnight. So that's where we're going to leave off, actually. We will do her fairy growing experiment, but I'm going to get a lima bean and let it soak overnight. And then we will reconvene with how we go about this experiment. So stay tuned for more stupendous summer science. That's just one we're going to do. We have a whole summer planned. Stay tuned with Miss Kathy. Hi, boys and girls. Miss Kathy here with another episode of Stupendous Summer Science from Shaler, North Hills Library. And we are doing another experiment with our test tubes from Steve Spangler's Science. And we have color-changing beads. Now, these have to do with light. What is light, you say? I'm going to read what he tells you because he can do it much better than I can. The term light is often used as a generic word to describe many different forms of light energy, such as incandescent light, which we get out of many light bulbs you find in our home, fluorescent light, which is a cooler type of light also used in light bulbs, or sunlight. However, not all light is made up of the same energy. With energy beads, you will be able to uncover an invisible form, can't see it, of energy called ultraviolet light, or UV, ultra and violet. None of the energy in the ultraviolet region of the light spectrum is visible to the human eye. Can't see it. Just as there are many different colors of wavelengths in the visible spectrum, we can see red, yellow, orange, those colors when we see a rainbow or water spraying out of a hose. So there are many wavelengths of ultraviolet light. First, there is long wave ultraviolet light that most of us recognize as a black light, which is often used in theater shows or making decorations glow in a dance parlor or something. There are also, those pass easily through plastic and glass. Short wave, ones that go up and down more often, light is used to kill bacteria to make chemical reactions happen faster and is also valuable in identifying fluorescent minerals, some of them. Unlike long wave light, the short wave UVs cannot pass through ordinary glass or most plastics. The shortest wavelengths cannot even travel very far through the air before being absorbed by oxygen molecules as they are converted into ozone. So, these beads that I have here will change color back and forth as many as 50,000 times. Can you imagine that? So we are going to test these out under bright sunlight conditions and try coating them with suntan lotion and see how well that protects it. Do a couple of those types of things. But unfortunately, we have a cloudy day today. So all we are going to do right now is test them outside, even though we have clouds, and see if the UV rays are getting through and see what that tells us. So we are going to take a trip outside and see what happens. You can see, first of all, that these beads are just clear white right now. So let's take a journey. And we're going to take these beads with us outside. Going out the porch here, out into the great outdoors, as you can see, around our backyard area here. And we are going to put these beads down on the wall. We can get them into the camera here. And already, we have only been out here a few seconds, we can see them changing colors. You can see that they are turning blue and pink and purple and yellow and pale green, and other colors like that. So, what does that tell us? That tells us why scientists and doctors urge us to put on suntan lotion even on a cloudy day. See, we do not have sun today. We have one big cloud heading over us. Yet, those rays are still getting through and changing the colors in these beads. So that is what we want to avoid happening, harmful rays reaching our skin. When we get more tan, that's why we're trying to protect ourselves with lotion, even on cloudy days. So we are going to take these back inside and leave them sit on the porch, and we will continue this experiment another day when we are able to have some bright sunshine and see what happens to them then. So this has been Miss Kathy doing part 1 of our color changing bead experiment. Stay tuned for part 2 on a sunny day. Bye now. Hi, boys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Stupendous Summer Science with Miss Kathy from Shaler North Hills Library. We are actually at the library today instead of my back porch, and we are continuing the color changing bead experiment that we started yesterday. We did it on a cloudy day yesterday, and now we have a beautiful sunny day, and you can see I just brought these out, how quickly those beads changed color. So what we need to do is find out a couple things about the tools that we use to protect ourselves from the harmful rays of the sun, like your sunglasses. These happen to be my sunglasses. If I put these in front of the beads, is it going to take away the color? Is it blocking out the harmful rays? Let's see what happens. Just put a few of them down here. We got some blue and some pink ones here. We move them over there and put them in the shade from the sun. You probably have to leave them sit for a couple minutes and see if the color starts fading out of them. And that tells me if I have good sunglasses or if I should get new ones to protect my eyes from the rays. So let's see what happens here. We learned about the UV rays, those ultraviolet rays from the sun. Looks like, let's see. Looks like the one, oops, this is getting back in the sun here. Keep it in the shade. Put them very close. So you want to come around here, Miss Kylie, and see. So this is the colors that these were, and this is the colors they're getting to be now. So they are much lighter. So yay, Miss Kathy has good sunglasses to protect the eyes. They're not completely white, but they are definitely a paler color than the other ones. Now we'll take it away, and we can see that they quickly go back to their full color. So I actually feel very good at that experiment. Now another thing we want to test is when we use suntan lotion, how that protects our skin. And are we using good suntan lotion? This is actually 50. It's supposed to protect our skin 50 times more than if we were just out. Look, we have Mr. Bug climbing over our lotion here to see if it's any good. 50 times more than if we were not using any lotion. So we are going to cover some of these beads with the lotion and see if that changes anything. Smooth it on there. Get some more out here. Put that on and see if we get it to keep the gray color or if it goes back to the white color. Ideally, you would want it to go back and start losing, even if not completely, losing some of the color. And it seems like those ones that were pretty bright pink before are starting to get more pale. And the one that was a purple, about this shade of purple, is now going much more pale. And the blue one is probably the most color out of all of them, but it is a little bit lighter than those ones. But you can see the difference between the purple and the pink. And this is even when the sun is kind of going in and out here on the sky over us. We have some clouds, and then we have some sun. So even with that, we can see the lotion is overall doing a pretty good job of protecting our skin. It is a little bit older. It is not fresh this year, so possibly it could be if it was fresh lotion, it would do a little bit better job on keeping the blue, making that one a little bit more white. But at least we know that it does work. And the higher number you have, it is better for your skin because it will keep out that many more. Let's see if there was any other things we can do with our bracelets. Well, you can always then make your bracelet, and you can arrange the beads in whatever colors you want. You just get a little piece of cord of some sort or ribbon or whatever you want to use, and you can arrange the beads and wear them outside and have a magical color changing bracelet. I did tell you that these beads are available from SteveSpanglerScience.com, but you can also get them in a number of other places too, and you can get more of them when you get his little test tube kit. This is all you get. So if you want to make a whole bracelet, you really should probably have some more than that. But that is our magical color changing beads on a beautiful cloudy and now sunny day here in gorgeous Shaler, Pennsylvania. I was going to say Shaler, Pittsburgh, and that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
We are a part of Pittsburgh. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more stupendous summer science with Miss Kathy. Hi, boys and girls. Miss Kathy here with another episode of Stupendous Summer Science. And we are using some more of these test tube kits from SteveSpanglerScience.com. And today we have Magic Sand. Stays dry in water. So we have, it comes in a variety of different colors, and you may be able to get this at the toy store or an art supply store as well. But we are using the ones from him, and he sends us this nice packet of blue sand. Let's see what we're supposed to do with this. According to his little chart here, pour some magic sand into the water. So he first wanted to, well, it doesn't say that, but we're supposed to have some water in our plastic cup. So it says pour some, look closely at the sand at the bottom of the cup. So we have a clear plastic cup here. Let's pour some of this water into there. It doesn't tell us how much water we need. So we'll just use about half of it there. Pour some sand, taking the cap off here, into the water. Okay, so a lot of it appears to be floating on the top. Look closely at the sand at the bottom of the cup. What is the silver-like coating on the sand? Well, let's pour in some more and see what we get here. I will show you this in just a minute, because my water is not sinking, my sand is not sinking to the bottom of my cup. If you can see it on the sides there, you can see it is mostly floating on top. If we turn it kind of sideways, let me see if I can prop this sand up there. We turn it sideways and hold the camera so you can see down into it. You might be able to see that there are color crystals. They look to have like a silvery glow around them on the side of the cup. But it is not sinking. I'm not sure why it is not sinking. So let's see what it says. Continue to add more magic sand and absorb how it piles up. So let's do that. Let's see, I'm trying to get it so I can see into the cup you can see into the cup as I do this. So I'm holding it over there. I'm going to pour more of the sand into the cup. Now the weight of that has made it fall to the bottom, and now you can start to see how there seems to be a shimmery white glow around the sand that is at the bottom. What do you think makes the sand shiny underwater? Use the spoon to scoop some sand out of the cup. So I brought a spoon out here with me, and we are going to scoop some of this sand out of the cup. And we have the sand right here in our spoon. The sand, it says, is dry. Let's feel it here and see if we can tell it's dry. It is definitely not wet. The water has come to that side of the spoon and the sand is on that side. Slowly and carefully pour the water off the sand into a second cup. You will be left with a pile of dry sand and a few beads of water rolling around on it. Okay, well, let's try dumping in a little bit more of the sand and see what that does. So we get more of it in there. It's still up at the top. And there it has sunk some to the bottom. Let's try pouring off this water into this other cup. Set you back down here so you can see me do that. Pouring some of this water off into the other cup. The water is coming. All of that water, it's like a big bubbles of water. Do it so you can see this part. It says we will be left with, you can hear how it is shaking in there. It is dry, even though we had it soaking in the water. Hi, so we are going to take our magic sand now and pour it onto the paper towel so we can get the rest of the water off and have just the sand left there. And you can see that even though the sand was just in the cup filled with water, we have very dry, flaky sand. So, how do we explain that one? Let's find out. Says, magic sand looks like normal sand until it's dyed and coated with a substance that repels, that means blocks or keeps away the water. This coating keeps the sand dry even after it has been dumped into a container of water. This demonstrates the properties of substances that are hydrophobic or hydrophilic. Hydrophobic substances do not mix with water. The term water-fearing can be used to describe hydrophobic substances, because when you have a phobia, it means you're afraid of something. So it can be reused. Collect the dry sand and place it on a paper towel to air dry before storing it. So our dry sand here can be reused again and again. And we didn't use it all. We still have some in our test tube, so we can always use all of it together over and over and over again. And that is the properties of magic sand that you can get at your local craft store or from stevespanglerscience.com. I should note I am not trying to promote business to this man's site. This just happens to be where I got the kits from. He gave them to the library to use. So I have to tell you where I got them so that if you want to get the exact same things I have, you may do so. But again, you can get them at other sources as well. Does not matter to me or Shaler, North Hills Library. So I am going to let you experiment with your own magic sand if you have some of this to play with. And I want you to tune back in for a future episode of Stupendous Summer Science with Miss Kathy. Hi. Hi, boys and girls. Miss Kathy here from Shaler, North Hills Library with another episode of Stupendous Summer Science. And again, we are using some of the supplies you can get online at stevespanglerscience.com, or you can obtain your jelly crystals from stores. Most arts and crafts stores sell them as well. And for the rest of this kit, rest of this experiment, all we are going to use are those crystals and some seeds. So if you have any seeds around home, you can make use of them right now. We are going to grow a garden with our seeds and crystals. It's called test tube gardening. So I guess you would also need to get some test tubes if you don't buy the ones that come online. So you can get them at arts and crafts supply stores as well, I believe. So let's see. First, before you do any work in a garden, you always have to prep it and get it ready. And that usually involves digging up the dirt and doing that sort of thing. But we don't have dirt in our magic garden. We have these super absorbing crystals. So let's see what he says to do to prep our garden. Fill 2 plastic cups with warm water. They should hold 8 to 12 ounces of liquid. So 8 ounces is 1 cup. And we have our measuring cup here. And I have 2 plastic clear cups. So we are going to fill up both of them with warm water. We're going to measure 1 cup. Seems to be something from outdoors that has landed in our cup here, so we are going to get that out. It's like a little needle or something. And pour that into our 1 cup. It's still plenty warm. Warmed it up on the stove. And let's try 1 more cup's worth here. And we're going to pour that into our other cup. Okay, we have, to top it off, we have still a little bit of warm water. Top it off with a little bit more because it said 8 to 12 ounces. So if we have a little extra in, that will be fine. Okay, next step in the prepping process here. Pour half of the bag of water jelly crystals into one of the cups and choose one of the seeds to soak in the other cup. So if you buy them online from Steve Spangler, you get in your test tube a variety of little seeds here. I'll dump them into my hand so you can see. We have all different types of seeds. So he says choose one and put it in a cup. So I'm going to choose this one. To be honest, I don't know what these various seeds are. This one looks like that. I'm going to put it in that cup right there. And it is floating on top of the cup. The rest of these I'm going to put back in my test tube to keep them safe. And then we are going to put half of the crystals in this little baggie into the other cup. So if you are trying this with crystals at home, let's see if we can figure out how many teaspoons about half of it is. That is 1/2 teaspoon. I'm going to put that into this little container I have here just so we can see. What is about half? This teaspoon here got a little bit wet, so I don't want to use it without drying it off. I'm trying to make it dry so we don't have any moisture on the crystals that we aren't using yet. Okay, so we can see if we measure out another 1/2 teaspoon, and we still have that much left. So let's add another 1/2 to this cup. That was 1/2 and 1/2. That gave us 1 teaspoon. So let's see if we have 1 whole teaspoon left. That would mean we had 2 to start with. And we can just about another one left. So let's say we're going to use 1 teaspoon of crystals in our other cup. So we are going to dump them in there. And believe it or not, that is how we prep our garden, because we are going to leave them sit. As the water jelly crystals begin to soak up the water, you'll notice they are getting bigger and bigger. You've probably used these crystals at home before, and you know that that's what happens to them, but it takes a while. You'll see a lot of growth from the very beginning. It takes several hours to reach their maximum size, so be patient. In fact, you're supposed to let the seed soak overnight. So let's just let these crystals soak overnight as well, since you need to wait for the seed in order to plant the rest of our garden. So let's leave both of these things sit, and we will check back on them once these seeds have had a chance to expand to their full capacity and our seed has gotten a little bit softer soaking. Stay tuned for more stupendous summer science with Miss Kathy from Shaler, North Hills Library. Hi, boys and girls. Another episode of Stupendous Summer Science with Miss Kathy here. We are continuing an experiment that we did before, the test tube gardening. And we had soaked a seed in some water last night, and we had put our super absorbing crystals into water and let them grow. They were just a few crystals laying on the bottom of the cup before, and now they are a full cupful. Okay, so then we are going to fill our baby soda bottle to the top with these full-grown crystals. So let's get our baby soda bottle out here. This has some more of the crystals that I haven't used in it, as well as some seeds we didn't use yet. Just one seed this time. And we're going to put these crystals into our test tube here. Again, you can get these crystals elsewhere, and you can buy a test tube anywhere. Might be helpful if you can stand it up, because you're going to have to stand it up for this experiment. Fill it to the top with the clear crystals. This over here a little bit more so you can see it better. This is a new type of gardening, not using dirt, but using these crystals. I guess. Tap them down, see if we can get a few more on there. Okay. Looking good. We're all the way in the top. Okay, then it says, push the seed about 1/2 inch down into the baby soda bottle with your finger. So I'm taking my seed here, with a little brown seed, and push it down just about, actually maybe I'll put a few more crystals on there first now that I've pressed it down a little bit. I'm going to put this seed into these crystals, press it down a little bit, let the crystals form up around it, close up around it. Okay, we have that done. Place the baby soda bottle in a safe, warm place so it won't be disturbed. And to make it stand up, they suggest putting it in a cow. But you can do whatever you need to do to get it to stand up. Record the date and time of your planting. Each day, return to record what changes have taken place. And you have to add some water occasionally to the tube to keep it wet, because the seeds need water to grow, right? And then we'll experiment with what happens once our seed sprouts. So we're going to keep an eye on it for a few days and see how long it takes to grow. So I'm going to go grab my notebook and write this down. But if you are trying this at home, grab your notebook, write it down, and we'll see whose seeds sprout first. I'm going to put that aside and save all these other seeds that I have here. to do this again once this one is starting to grow and out of the test tube. So stay tuned. We'll check its progress periodically on Stupendous Summer Science with Miss Kathy from Shaler North Hills Library. Thanks for watching.